Welcome to another Meetup Live. My name is Alex. I am a senior customer support team lead. I'm joined today by Colin. Say hello, Colin.
Hello, I'm Colin. I'm a manager of the customer support team here at Meetup, and I work with the product team.
And we're here today to host another office hours. We posted a link in the event beforehand, invited everyone to share their questions. We've grabbed some that we think are going to be useful, and we'll go ahead and get started on our presentation today. As always, we like to go through what you can expect. So first and foremost, this event will be recorded. You do not appear in the video. We've also courtesy muted you. So the only people you will be seeing and hearing will be Colin and myself. And if you have questions, there is a Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. Please feel free to submit those questions. We do have support specialists on the line to answer those questions in real time. And if we have time at the end, we will make some space to answer some more of those questions. Closed captioning is available. And if you'd like to turn that on, simply click the live transcription icon at the bottom of your screen and select your preference. Today, we'll be answering questions, and but before we get into that, we're going to share some of the latest features that have just rolled out and give you sort of an insight into what Meetup's been building to support you in your community building. And then when we are done answering the questions, we will share some links, as we always do, to make sure you've got access to our community support team, and we can continue working with you as you sort of navigate Meetup and get the most out of it. Today, we'll talk about taking over groups from other organizers. We'll talk about collecting member dues and some best tips and practices around starting that process of collecting those dues. We'll talk about when and why accounts that haven't been logged into for a while get disabled. We'll talk about what happens if you run into a poor user experience, like something going wrong. We'll also start talking about search results and a lot of the questions that sort of come up around search results themselves. And last but not least, we also got an interesting feature request, which we wanted to share with everybody, as well as the actual process for submitting your own feature requests. So first and foremost are our product updates, and Colin is going to walk us through those.
Hey, thanks, Alex. Yeah, so the first thing I wanted to share was that we launched the ability for organizers to choose whether they want their members to upload photos to their group and events. So we built a toggle that's located in your group settings. It's specifically in your optional settings page for your group. And if you're an organizer of a group, you can turn it on, which means that people can upload photos. And if you turn it off, then it means members cannot upload photos. Just a great way to secure your community. Sometimes groups, or specifically pro organizers, want to manage their group's branding, and maybe just, it's not necessary for their members to share photos. But yeah, just wanted to make sure that that was an option for you, depending on your group's needs. The next one is specific to the Android app. We're still working on launching it in the iOS Apple app, and also building it on the website. But right now it's just on Android app. We launched an updated member profile experience. So it's a new design. You can see new sections like looking to, where you can choose to show whether you're looking to practice a hobby, make friends, professionally network, socialize. And then also you can see shared groups that you and that member you're viewing have in common, and then also shared interests that you and that member have in common. Just keep in mind that members have full control over what appears and doesn't appear on their profile. And this is like a great new design that I really like, but we would love any feedback you have if you want to contact us about it. The next one is editing events after they start. So this was a request that came from organizers who needed to edit the event while it's happening. Originally, before we made this change, when the event started, it was basically locked so that you cannot edit it, and you can't edit any information in it. After we launched the ability to host online events, we heard from a lot of people who needed to update the online event URL because maybe something went wrong with the Zoom meeting or the Google Meets meeting, and they needed to update that link. But that wasn't possible, but now it is, because we made it so that you can edit your event up until it ends. Now, there are some things that you cannot edit, like the event date and time. You can't edit the communication tools that are used for the event, and there's a bunch of optional settings at the bottom that you aren't allowed to edit as well. But there are a lot of things you can edit, like the title, the featured photo, the description, the pro speaker, event topics, location, both online and in-person locations, COVID-19 safety measures, and who the event host is. And then the last one, this is exciting because it was literally just launched like an hour ago. It's called the Event Feedback Overview page. This came out of feedback we heard after we placed the star ratings on group home. So if you go to your group homepage, you should be able to see, if you're an organizer or leadership team member, you should be able to see the average star ratings across all past events. So as a reminder, after the event happens, your members, the attendees, are able to review and rate and share feedback about the event. We took all of that data and compiled it and put it into one big overview page so that you don't have to go through and click into each individual event. You can just see it in one place, and that's exactly what you asked for. So really excited because, you know, our community support team is here to collect that feedback and to convince our product team that it's important. And that's what we did. So we're really excited about it. So in addition to being able to see the average event ratings across all past events, you can also see what people liked, what went wrong. When you click in to see all event reviews, you can sort and filter them based on if they have a comment, 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars, etc. You can also sort by most recent or highest and lowest. And this is just a great way to learn from your members and to, you know, iterate on the events that you host, and to make improvements to them. So check it out. Oh, by the way, this is currently available to groups that have 3.5 stars or more, and it has a minimum of 5 reviews, so 5 ratings. So if you don't see it on your group homepage, it means that you have that, you know, your rating is less than 3.5 stars, or you have less than 5 reviews. Just want to call that out. But yeah, check it out. Please let us know if you have any feedback, and it'll come directly to me and I can share it with our product team. Cool. That was a lot. But we're making good work on the product.
All right, well, we'll get started on the Q&A and answer questions about some other features and strategies that people had questions about. I'll get us started with the first question here. Some members have given up attending events, stating that it's too difficult for them to even log into their account, even when they're using their passwords. Is there a time limit on people's accounts where they are forced to resign from Meetup? So the answer to this is basically yes. If you haven't logged into Meetup at all for 6 months and your email address is not accepting any of the notifications that we send to your email address, both of those qualifications get met and Meetup will automatically deactivate that account. That account is still accessible. It can be reactivated. There's a help center article, which we'll share in the chat. If a member has reported to you as an organizer that they are having trouble logging into their account, feel free to share this help center article with them. It'll get them in touch with us on the support team, and we can reactivate the account for them. The help center article will also help explain for both you and for your members exactly what's going on and what can be done about it.
Yeah, I think something I just want to say about this is regarding the email address that is no longer receiving Meetup emails. That's typically, we see that typically when the email provider, whether it's Gmail or AOL or Yahoo, they occasionally like flag our meetup, our emails, and then like basically stop receiving them. And we call it like bounced accounts. And so that just happens on like the email provider's end, and we can like unbounce them. So if that ever happens, let us know. Or if you stop receiving emails altogether, let us know, because that sometimes happens with those other email providers. But if that is happening for 6 months and you don't log into your account, that's typically when we're like, oh, this account, like why would we continue trying to send emails to this account if they're just bouncing back to us, basically. So just some context, just some like context there.
Yeah, the bounced account status is an interesting thing to bring up, because we do get so many questions about notifications and how to ensure that your members are receiving the messages that get sent. So if an account is inactive like this and their email address is bouncing our Meetup notifications, that's one reason why those notifications might be having trouble reaching your members. Again, it's something that we would have to work directly with the member about. So this Help Center article becomes a really valuable resource for you to share with your members so that they can get in contact with us directly and we can start investigating that. So thanks for calling that out, Colin. All right, this next question is about organizers and who controls groups. Colin, do you want to take this one?
Yeah. Sure. This question says, the two people that have been handling a group are now both in different states. I'm trying to become the admin. Okay, so it sounds like this person who asked the question wants to take over the group from these two people who are, moved away. The concept of Meetup, or like, big part about Meetup is that the group needs an organizer. They need to have an organizer subscription in order to run the group. However, if that organizer steps down from the group, they can choose to keep it open so that any members of the group can step up and then take the place of the organizer. The original organizer can also nominate a specific member to step up. It's totally optional for that member to step up. But if, like I said, if no one is nominated, then any member of the group can step up. So yeah, I mentioned you need your own organizer subscription. If you do decide to become the group organizer, you need to start a subscription. And when you do start a subscription, a core basic subscription allows you to have up to 3 groups. So when you start your sub, you can step up to that group, and then you can also open 2 more or step up to 2 more if you want. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of that process, but it just sounds like this person is trying to become the admin of the group. We do have this article about stepping up to lead a group. So the original organizers will need to either nominate this person or keep it open for that person to then step up. So I would recommend contacting the original organizers of the group and say, hey, I want to step up. Can you nominate me? Can you step down and nominate me? But it really is their group, so they have the choice to do it or not. But yeah, check out that article. Hopefully that helps you.
There's another possibility with that situation too, which is that if the 2 original organizers, whichever one of them had the subscription, if that subscription lapses and nobody's paying for a subscription, our system will, after a certain amount of time, remove them as organizer from the group, and then anybody can step up and take over the group. But again, it sort of is dependent on the status of the organizer, like Colin was saying. So again, it's valuable to, if you are interested in taking over a group, reach out to the original organizer and see kind of like what the situation is and whether they're willing to transfer it to you.
Yep.
Cool question. All right, next we're going to talk about dues. We got 2 different questions about this, and I'm going to try to answer them both on the same slide here. So one question was, I've been wanting to pull the trigger on charging a small membership fee of $3 per month, but paid $36 annually. Are there any other meetup groups charging this much or more? And then the second question was, I'm thinking of charging a membership fee to encourage commitment to participate. What is a realistic charge? Years ago, I was a member of a group that charged $25 a year. So obviously the $25 a year is not the same amount as that $36 annually that the first question was asking about. Most organizers that I've seen, and I don't have at my fingertips like the exact statistics about the most that any group charges and how successful it is. But most groups tend to charge, I would say like $5, probably a little less, maybe a little more. And it kind of depends
per
on
month.
and it kind of depends on the health of the group, how many people are engaged and active, what they know to expect from the group. So the fact of the matter is, to both these questions, there isn't an easy one-size-fits-all answer. It really does depend on the state of your group and how. Go ahead.
I would say also, sorry to cut you off, the quality of your events. If you are charging, $5 or maybe like some, for example, you have these amazing events where, you show up and maybe you charge nothing for your events, but you charge a membership dues fee per month. That would make up for the cost of the events. Really depends. Like otherwise, maybe you're doing like a sailboat event every month and that costs money, but instead of charging per event, you just charge like a membership dues thing. So I've seen other groups do that as well. So it just really depends, like you said, Alex.
Yeah. And I think you mentioned like establishing quality of events so people know what they pay for. The event feedback overview page that we looked at earlier today, one of the new features that just rolled out today, is like a really useful tool for that, because it gives you insight into what your members are enjoying about your events, what they wish were different. A couple of things that I thought could be sort of like useful workaround, since there isn't a simple answer for like what a realistic or what a common charge is. First of all, both of these questions were asking about annual charges. Definitely an option. There's literally no reason why an annual charge would be more or less successful to a group than a monthly charge. That's really going to be subjective based on the community that you're building. The thing that I think is going to be crucial about trying to establish an annual fee is being really transparent with your group about where those funds are being applied. I always think about it in terms of like Kickstarters or GoFundMe's. It's like the amount that you donate, usually they'll do like benchmarks to tell you, like, if you donate this much, you'll get this much in return. So telling people like, well, this is going to go towards the organizer subscription cost, because it does cost money to lead groups. So if you want to continue meeting and you want me to continue facilitating it, like, please donate in order for me to continue doing that for you. Some people say that their dues are going directly to event hosting costs, like renting spaces, getting food, plates, like any of the I want to say props. You're not hosting a play. Any of the actual objects that would go into facilitating a successful event. You've got plenty of communication tools through your group to alert your members about where those dues are going to be applied. Another thing to keep in mind is that dues are not the only way to collect funds from your members. We've hosted a lot of events over the past few months about successful monetization strategies for your groups. So if you do end up trying dues and you're just not seeing the engagement you want, there are two other options. We're going to post those links in the chat so that you can watch the recordings that we've hosted in the past on monetizing Meetup. So there's lots of information about successful strategies for setting up member dues. You can also charge ticket fees for individual events. So people are paying to RSVP to a specific event. And if you're in the United States, there is a third option for optional fundraising. We've partnered with a third party called Pledge. They allow you to create a fundraising campaign, which is visible both on your group homepage and possibly on event homepages too, depending on what you choose. People can select there precisely how much they want to contribute towards your group. Correct me if I'm wrong, Colin, I think we're investigating how to expand those fundraising, the optional fundraising beyond the United States, right? That's something that we're
there's talk. It's a little complicated because if you look at the money page on your group money page, it's still on like our old platform. So we're trying to figure out ways to update it and redesign it and make it much more useful and current. And so with that, there's a lot of questions on like, contributions and event fees and member dues and all the different payment options that come with organizing a group. How can we get those integrated and more functional for y'all? So yeah, TBD on that, more to come, but there's definitely talk happening in this quarter and next.
Yeah, but great questions that came up. We're aware that dues and different monetization strategies are really important to a lot of organizers. So the recordings that we're posting in the chat now should be really, really useful resources to sort of learn more about the ways in which we support you in collecting those funds and different strategies that you can try to see what works best for your particular group. Moving on, Colin, would you like to take this one?
Why does the new chat take so long to notify that a message was not read? So this sounds like a bug. Sounds like something might be going wrong. We have this QR code here because if there is ever anything that you see that's like just not working or frustrating or just a poor experience, we want to hear about it. Sometimes it's a bug, sometimes it's a poor user experience, sometimes it's a feature request. So there's a lot of different we're not quite sure specifically what it is. Maybe it's like a device issue, maybe we're just not sure. So this is something where I would recommend contacting us about so that we can investigate with you directly, rule out if it's an issue with your device, your account, or if it's actually like an issue with the chat feature itself. And then once we get those reports, or once we get your report, we have a whole product support team that investigates this with you. And if it is a bug, then we partner with our engineers to get it fixed. So yeah, definitely we have our product support team available 7 days a week, offer solutions, workarounds, but this is something that definitely sounds suspiciously like a bug, because once you look at a event chat, I think they're talking about event chat.
Yeah.
Then the red dot or red notification should go away. So yeah, definitely if you're here and watching, or if anyone wants to submit issues, please do.
Yeah, I think the notifications badge not clearing as chat messages get read, I agree, that sounds like a bug to me. I always like to say, like, as time consuming as it may be to reach out and report to us, it's sort of like going to the doctor's office. It's like if you go in saying, well, I'm sneezing a lot, a doctor's going to have to ask you questions and narrow down, like, well, is it allergies? Is it a cold? Is it something more? Do you have the flu? Have you gotten your shots? So like we have to do sort of similar questions about your Meetup account in order to just get the full context of what you're experiencing. And that helps us narrow down if there is actually a problem with the features themselves. So make sure that you've got access to those bug reports in case something does go wrong with your experience. We're here to help. Cool. All right. Now we're going to talk a little bit about group visibility and search results. This particular person had submitted a question on behalf of what seems like a very robust group. They say, we have over 2,600 members in our group and at least 30 events per week. Which is very impressive.
Wow.
Not only are we no longer found on Google, we're not even found on Meetup when you search for pickleball meetups. What do I need to do to be seen? So first, I just want to call it the last paragraph here on this slide. Our engineers are doing experiments and actively working on how to improve search. We've been telling people for a long time now that the key is keywords, making sure you've got relevant keywords in your event title and description, and that really is going to boost search results in Meetup itself. Previously, I'd also recommended if you're hosting individual events, scheduling them about 2 weeks apart so that your group sort of continues registering as an active group that people are participating in. Because this particular question said this group's already hosting 30 events per week, clearly, that 2 week space between events is not relevant for this group. Like they've got more events than that. Without having looked at the group itself, my guess is that those 30 events per week, at least some of them are recurring. And that can impact group visibility. If you have a recurring event and it's like, it just repeats forever, but the future instances of those events don't have any RSVPs besides the event host, that will suppress your search results. Which is why I've got the second bullet point here, which is if you do have recurring events and your members know that those events are coming up, and so maybe they don't feel like it's necessary to RSVP because they know like every Tuesday you're going to have an event, encourage your members to RSVP because that will boost, in some cases, it helps boost search result visibility for those events. And the reason behind that, it's automated, like it's not a controlled choice that we at Meetup are making. Our search engine is designed to surface active groups so that members who are seeking new communities to join are likelier to find that healthy, good experience of like, okay, yes, this is a real community of people who are really meeting, and I can reasonably expect that when I RSVP to this event, I know what I'm getting into. So for some of those repeating events where there aren't people RSVPing, that's why those get deprioritized, because it's not going to be clear what exactly a new member RSVPing is going to be getting into. Another thing to keep in mind is because this particular question had brought up that they're no longer being found on Google. I myself am not an expert on Google search engine optimization. There's a lot of resources out there about that. I think adjusting your group's URL, adjusting your group's title might be ways to play with that. How quickly it takes for Google to register that, honestly, I don't know. But there is another option, which is just sharing the URL for your upcoming event or for your group in new spaces you haven't tried before. I've recommended using Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. If you're on Tumblr, it can't hurt. Any of those social media platforms where you have sort of an active network of people who know you, but don't necessarily have a Meetup account, it's worth posting there to invite them in. And I also like to point out, you can put up flyers, like print out flyers, put them up at your local community center, at gyms, anywhere where people who might be relevant to the interest of your group, where they might be likely to see it.
Do not underestimate the power of flyers. I just hosted an event this past weekend, and I had like friends and family, of course, show up, but like my goal was to have at least one new person, and the one new person who showed up saw the flyer. And I was like, boom, okay, this is like, good enough. So yeah, flyers are very powerful, which, who would have thought?
Can I ask, Colin, how did you decide where you were putting your flyers?
Local businesses, community bulletin boards, random places. I didn't really put them on you could put them on like the street, like street lights and stuff. We focus more on like businesses who, could put it in their windows.
Yeah.
But yeah, that worked. The one person. But in terms of this question, it's definitely odd. I mean, with 2,600 members and hosting so many events, it sounds like it's a group that has been around for a while. And so it's definitely odd that they're not showing up in Google. And so it's just another example of like, please reach out to us and tell us, because this is something that I'm curious to even investigate, just to understand what's happening. And then we can take this example, if it isn't showing up, by searching for the exact name of the group, like that's definitely suspicious. So we could bring that to our search and data team to figure out like why that's happening. And it's just another case that adds to the to helping us understand like what's going on. So yeah.
Cool. Great. All right. And I think this is the last question we had previously collected. I'm going to go ahead and read through this one because I was really impressed with this question. there was a lot more information here in what was submitted, and I tried to edit it down to like the core for everybody who's attending today. And so the basic premise of this, the question had been, when people try to join my group but don't add the required profile information, in this case, I believe that they were asking for profile photos. So if they were joining and they didn't have a profile photo, they were denying those requests to join manually. They were making the decision to reject the request, and then they would reach out to them and invite them to join again with the required info. This group had a free trial before it would charge member dues. But when they would reject the request to join and reach out and invite them to join again, our platform was automatically denying them the free trial that they should have had since they weren't successfully joining the group the first time. And this organizer was reporting like it was really complicating things for this community. It was annoying and alienating potential members. And this organizer requested a note on the support site, presumably our help center, which they could point people to. So these potential members could see like, this is a known issue with Meetup. Now, whether it's a bug or just a poor user experience, in this case, I don't think it matters. Like, this is just a not ideal situation, and it is worth reporting. If you haven't done so already, please do. You can use the bug report we showed 2 slides ago, and we'll have all of those links up again as well. But I just wanted to call out like the idea of having a page that says, we know that these are issues that are impacting people, and potentially even offering like, and this is what you can do about it. I thought this was a really great idea. I went ahead and submitted a feature request on behalf of this organizer just to highlight this and see what I could do about investigating like when and how we could get that up. But in the meantime, definitely reporting the issues you're running into is hugely helpful for us. Colin already sort of pointed out that like, because of those bug reports, tracking the number of reports that comes in lets us know how severe the problem is. And that helps us prioritize how quickly we need to roll out a fix. So if this problem with joining groups and being denied the free trial that you rightfully should get, if that's impacting a lot of groups, we'll be able to prioritize getting a fix for that sooner if we get a lot of reports in about it. So yeah, I just wanted to call out like what a great idea that known issues page would be, and then share this QR code for the feature request so that if any of you have either product feedback about existing parts of Meetup that you wish had improvements, or if there are features that don't exist yet that you wish could be built. Both of those really, really valuable, and they do make an impact on Meetup. The event overview page that we announced today is the direct result of requests we got from places like the feature request form. So yeah, anything you want to add on that, Colin?
No, it's great. You covered it.
Cool. All right. Well, I believe we've got a couple of minutes now. I don't think we've gotten too many questions in the Q&A. So if anybody does have questions, feel free to post them now. In the meantime, I do see we got one question from Vondi, who asks, how do I announce an online event beyond my local geographic area? It's a good question. We get this quite a lot. Colin, do you want to speak?
I don't believe that's possible because, oh yeah, okay. So they're asking, how do I announce an online event beyond my local geographic area? Yeah. So right now we treat online events the same as in-person events in our system. It's because our, Meetup's a very old platform that originated from in-person events. And for years and years, we had, our policy was, the whole point of Meetup was to meet up in person. Then 2020 happened, and we realized the importance of online events. Online events could just be as instrumental in building communities. However, the way that our events are set up, we still announce events in a geographic area, whether they're online or in person. So that's just how our system works right now. I think it's an excellent feature request. It's an excellent, feedback to share about our product. Yeah, so that's the best answer I have right now.
Thanks, Colin. We got another good question. This one comes from one of our anonymous attendees. They say, I stepped up as organizer of a small group of about 35 members when the former organizer canceled their subscription. However, this organizer had two groups. And when I was signing up as the organizer, the red ribbon came again, so I confirmed. And this was for the other group. And it had 400 members that I accidentally became the organizer of. I want to accept that challenge and increase engagement in that group. Is there a way to conduct surveys in Meetup directly? Really cool question. Unfortunately, at the moment, there isn't an easy built-in way to handle those surveys. We used to have a feature called polls, which has been deprecated. As Colin just said about the announcements for like unanchored to geographic location, this surveys directly in Meetup is a great feature request. In the meantime, we do have some suggestions for workarounds. We had suggested there are some free platforms that you can post links to. I tend to like posting poll links in my group discussions so that it's right on the group homepage and people can comment and engage directly. You can also use your contact members tool and handle it as an email that you send out to your group if that is a way that you're getting more engagement from your communications. But those platforms that I've seen used lately without our built-in polling, options like Typeform, Type form, Google Forms, or SurveyMonkey. So all of those are pretty robust survey tools, and posting links to your members can start gathering that information you're looking for. Really great question. I think we've got one more.
Yeah, this is from Jennifer. It says, will we ever be allowed to add in more than one city when we start a group? I live between San Francisco, LA, and New York City and can only choose one city. Yeah, so Jennifer, unfortunately that's not possible right now. I'm not saying it will never be possible, because it may in the future, but right now, when you go to start a group, it's based on, the original way Meetup worked. It was very local focused. So when you start a group, you're asked to select the city that it will primarily live in. However, Meetup Pro is another subscription, above the regular core subscription, that you can kind of create like networks of groups. So even though you will need to create multiple groups and select a city for each group, you can link it to like an overall network. And then through those groups, you can schedule network events. So you schedule one event and it's posted across those groups. So you could have a group in San Francisco, a group in LA, and a group in NYC. And when you schedule an event, it's posted on all three of those groups so that people who are there, if it's an online event, they can see, oh, we're all going to show up to this online event. So yeah, hopefully that's a decent workaround for the time being, but yeah, you can't add more than one group, or sorry, more than one city to one group.
I just want to call out too, like, because this is such a similar, like the core issue of this question is the same as what Vondi had asked earlier about announcing beyond local geographic area. So, maybe I'm wrong about this, but it feels like every time we've hosted one of these events, Colin, we do get a question similar to this. So it seems like this is a persistent concern and request from a lot of organizers. It's not just those of us on this call today. Because
I wonder if it.
Oh, go ahead, Colin.
I just wonder if it has to do with us allowing online events on our platform now.
I think so. Like, I think it's just like the needs of organizers are shifting as the capabilities of the internet are changing. Online events are becoming more popular. I think because of that, the feature request form that we've shared with everybody today absolutely crucial. If everybody who's been asking questions on these meetup events submits a question about location, being able to reach a broader audience, right now, like built into Meetup, the best option I can think of is network events, but it's a pro exclusive feature and that's not financially feasible for some organizers. So submitting those feature requests to say like this is a deeply urgent concern for a lot of organizers is a really great way for us on the community support team to gauge how much interest there is and to make a really strong case for us building something to meet that need. So great questions. Thank you so much for bringing them up. I think we've got time for one last question. And this comes from John. John asks, can you have members' event message notifications turn on by default or automatically when they sign up for an event? I have many members who turned off notifications because they received too many notices, or new members whose notifications are off by default when they join. So they sign up for an event, but they never see notifications when I message them, or they get off the wait list, or if the event is updated, et cetera. I often have to message them on Facebook if I know who they are on Facebook and let them know that they have gotten into an event or to confirm that they are going. Once again, this is a common concern, John. So it's a great question. We empower every member to control what notifications they're receiving. Because there are so many different kinds of notifications that Meetup can generate, the research we had done had indicated that like if we automatically turn on everything, that's a much likelier way to like almost guarantee that your members are going to unsubscribe from every message, every email, every notification. So we make sure that they have the access to adjust the notifications that are most relevant to them. The workaround that I have been suggesting to organizers is to make it really clear in your group description when they join, or to send out a message to everybody who is actively involved in your group that there is an expectation that your members have their notifications adjusted to receive certain kinds of notifications from you. And if they don't, that might be grounds for getting removed from the group.
I would also, absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's really up to you and how much you want to enforce that. But when people join the group, make sure to add that information in the welcome message, because when they join, they'll see that welcome message. If they have their emails turned on, they'll get that email with the welcome message. Just definitely remind them, like, we want to make sure that you're up to date and aware of what's happening in this group. So you don't have to keep all notifications on, but at least keep them on for my group, so yeah, that's also a good one, so that when members join, they immediately see, oh, turn on notifications for this group, because maybe they have turned it off across the site and they didn't realize it. So yeah.
Yeah, I totally get the like the philosophy and the expectation that if somebody RSVPs to a group, obviously they want to be receiving updates about the event, excuse me, that if they've RSVP'd to an event, obviously they're expecting to get updates about it. Because of the bouncing account issue that we mentioned earlier, it's like that sometimes it is beyond our control to enforce that they are receiving those notifications. And if they've turned off event-specific notifications, it can get very subjective and nuanced based on the settings of that individual person's account. So I think trying to just establish baseline expectations about communication with your group is a healthy workaround in the moment. And again, potentially submitting feature requests around the notifications and the health of those going out reliably could be another useful tactic to try here. I think that's all we've got time for today. But I really want to thank everybody for these questions. They're really thoughtful, and they're really, it's encouraging as employees here at Meetup to hear how people are really using each feature and how useful or frustrating they can sometimes be. So this is all really, really valuable. And thank you all so much for attending today. Last but not least, we do like to share these resources, some of which we've already talked about today, but these are some quick ways that you can stay in contact with our community support team. And the top left-hand corner, we've already talked about this feature request form a lot. We really like to promote it in these Meetup Live events because they are such a crucial part of how we determine the future direction of what we're building. The bottom right-hand corner is the bug report form, which we've also talked about. On the bottom left-hand corner is our product updates page, which is hosted in our Community Matters blog. And this is really useful if you don't have specific feedback or requests to file, but you just want to stay up to date on the latest things that we're building, new tools that can help you reach out to your community, host more successful events, all that kind of stuff. Following the product updates page will give you live updates on what's going on. Last but not least, if you want to check out Meetup's Help Center, that's likely the place where, if we're going to be able to publish like a known issues page, it's probably going to live in the Help Center under our technical issues section. But we also have lots of other resources available in the Help Center. They're designed to help you navigate specific features. There's some success tips mixed in there. We've got instructions, we've got screenshots, we've got GIFs, we've got videos, all of which are designed to support the work you're doing as an organizer. Last but not least, we do like to promote our organizer community on Discord. If you're not familiar with Discord, it's an instant messaging platform. And if you're not using it already, you would have to create a brand new account. But once you do, and you scan this QR code, you'd be invited directly into a private server for Meetup organizers. We're really proud of how this is expanding, and we have a team of organizer mentors who are available. I think there's 2 each day, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. They'll answer your questions, and you'll also get to network with other organizers who either are really seasoned and experienced, and they're sharing tips that have worked for them with their groups, or you'll meet other new organizers who are just starting out, and they have some of the same questions that that you might have yourself. Getting to share those experiences is a crucial part of the community building aspect for our organizer community, and we really would love it if everybody, if you haven't joined already, please do. We also do have a support channel there, so it's yet another way that you can contact the community support team if you do run into questions. So our colleague Emily has been posting links in the chat. Feel free to copy those, and we will hopefully be able to continue answering your questions. We expect that we'll be hosting another one of these office hours events sometime in the next couple of months.
Next month.
So if you do have additional questions that we didn't get to today, keep an eye out for that event. Feel free to submit your questions or your requests through the various resources we posted today. And once again, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.